afternoon, Naman. Welcome to the mock interview.
Good afternoon, sir.
So, Naman, tell the panel about yourself, your academic qualifications, your work experience, if any, and your main hobbies, very briefly.
Yes. Good afternoon, sir. I am Naman Goyal. I was born in Jaipur and currently residing in Mumbai. I have done my bachelor's in technology in chemical engineering from IIT Bombay in 2020. Sir, my hobbies include following contemporary events in the civil aviation industry and traveling, sir. Sir, I have no prior work experience.
You have? Sorry?
Sir, no work experience, sir.
Okay, no work. Okay. So, Naman, you are from Jaipur or Maharashtra?
Sir, I have done my schooling in Jaipur till class 12. After that, I've been living in Mumbai, sir.
So, how do you find what difference did you see in the lifestyle, that you see in Jaipur and the lifestyle in Mumbai?
Sir, with respect to lifestyle, Mumbai is a cosmopolitan city where we see different people belonging to different culture, religion, class, caste residing here. While, sir, Jaipur is not a cosmopolitan per se, and people of the local region are mostly residents of Jaipur. So, in that way, there is a large diversity in Mumbai. Apart from that, sir, in terms of the classes of people, the citizens in Mumbai, they are very rich, and there are a large number of people who are living in slums as well. So I see a stark inequality in Mumbai, which is, sir, not so in case in Jaipur, sir.
Naman, you have mentioned that you have done some following contemporary events in the civil aviation industry.
Yes, sir.
All right. So just tell me, the last 2 years have been bad for the civil aviation industry as a whole.
Yes.
And many airlines have also been, they have abandoned their services, whether Kingfisher or Jet Airways and all. And India happens to be, in terms of the aviation market, it is third or fourth or maybe going to be even closer. So what do you think ails the civil aviation industry today, especially with regard to airlines?
Sir, with respect to civil aviation industry, even in the last 1 year during the COVID-19 pandemic, the Indian airlines lost around $3 billion of revenues, and globally there was a loss of around $400 billion of revenue, sir. Sir, specifically with respect to the ailing factors in the civil aviation industries and the airlines in particular, we see that the cost competitiveness is very high, and the airlines, they rely on very small hair thin margin for their revenues. Since the cost competitiveness is high and the cost is also very high because we need to provide large amount of service to the passengers. The cost of maintenance, leasing of aircrafts, and the aviation turbine fuel, which comprises around 40% of the total cost for the airlines, is also a major challenge for the airlines. So these are the major factors which restrict the aviation sector, and we see large bankruptcy, for example, in the case of Kingfisher, Jet Airways, and so on, sir.
During COVID, there was an arrangement called air bubble arrangement made by Civil Aviation Ministry. Now, what was that air bubble?
Sir, under the air bubble arrangement, since the regular inflow and outflow of flights was banned across from India, the air bubbles were signed between two countries as a MOU, in which certain number of flights were allowed to take off and land in India, and certain number of passengers were also allowed to depart and arrive, sir. So under this agreement, we had air bubble with several countries like UAE, USA, UK, etc., sir.
Naman, tell me, if you are the collector of some district, say in Maharashtra or Rajasthan, and you want to get investments from the industry. So the main complaint is that there is no ease of doing business in your district, so we are not going to come. Now tell me, Naman, what are the factors that you would look into to improve the ease of doing business in your district?
Sir, if I may choose, can I choose one of the districts in Rajasthan, for example?
In Jaipur?
Okay, sir. Sir, Jaipur, I myself have observed that the availability of water and electricity, which is the basic requirement for any industry, is limited. Water is not available for domestic purposes and similarly for industrial areas as well. The government has established certain SEZs, but the arrival of industries in those SEZ has been limited. So my priority would be to provide availability of water and electricity to industries. Apart from that, sir, the labor is also not skilled. So my one of the major priority would be skilling the labor in the required sir industrial fields. Apart from this, sir, the IT sector or the information communication technology sector has been lacking in Jaipur. And my priority would be to increase the number of colleges who would have computer science and IT engineering, and so as to say provide them some kind of incentives so that the IT sector can establish its base in Jaipur. Sir.
Okay, Naman, thank you. I pass on to Mr. Khanna. He will ask you the next set of questions.
Thank
Khanna,
you.
sir, please.
Good afternoon, Naman.
Good afternoon, sir.
So, I find from your dev, this is your third attempt at civil services. One in forest service and two for civil services.
Yes, sir. I have given civil services in 2020, and this is my second attempt in civil service. And one attempt I have also given in Indian forest service. Forest service.
Forest service.
Forest.
So you are an IIT graduate, and why are you so keen? Don't you think we'll be wasting a seat if you become a civil servant? You are, as it is, a big asset to India. With your qualification, you can always contribute a lot in whichever field you go.
Definitely, sir. As a graduate of IIT Bombay, definitely there are high expectations from me to contribute to the society. And sir, civil service is one of the area which I would like to contribute. Sir, the idea of joining civil service also arose during my studies in IIT Bombay. And I realized that I'll be more satisfied and enjoy working in the civil service. Sir, IIT Bombay per se has provided me a lot of skill and made me a talented person in the sense that I have acquired leadership skills at IIT Bombay and attained focus and dedicated attitude in me. So, sir, these abilities which IIT Bombay has provided me, I'll be utilizing in civil services as well.
Good. So you talked of leadership qualities. So if you are made police commissioner of Delhi, yes, what would you do to improve the image of Delhi police?
Sir, may I take a moment to think? Sir, Delhi police has been doing remarkable job since its establishment. And for example, we see large number of anti-terrorist squads being created and diffusion of any such threat. So, sir, there is a positive perception. But if we need to further increase the perception of Delhi police, we can always ensure that the crime against women is reduced, so that there is a confidence among women, among children, that their complaints would be heard by the police. We can also establish Mahila police stations and different police stations catering to specific vulnerable sections. Apart from this, sir, in the upcoming, in the present era, we see a lot of cyber crimes emerging, and Delhi police needs to gear up in solving these cyber crimes. So, sir, improving the reputation would also come by improving the skill set of the police personnel in Delhi, sir.
Okay, one thing which I was looking for in leadership quality was looking after your own men.
Yes.
Because they are the ones who create the image of police.
Yes.
Okay.
Sir. Yes.
So
yes.
it's very important to add that element. Don't you agree?
Definitely, sir. As a leader, a police commissioner needs to ensure that the subordinates are motivated, they are goal-oriented, and the resolution of any crimes is taken place at a faster pace and with the complete proper service delivery to the citizens, sir.
Okay, so what extra element will you bring to civil service after joining it? How will you contribute?
Sir, as a person with a background in technology, and especially, sir, I'm a graduate of chemical engineering. So there are some principles which we are taught in terms of analytical thinking, use of technology, and particularly during our chemical engineering studies, we were taught the concepts of safety and hazard management. And sir, we have recently seen that there are a large number of incidents and accidents across different chemical plants, different industries in India. So one thing which I would like to bring into the civil services is that proper safety protocol should be followed, and least amount of damage should be there to the personnel and the industries, sir.
Okay, let's talk of this UDAN scheme, which was started many years ago. Then we had UDAN 2. So how do you assess UDAN scheme as on date? What is the success story or otherwise of UDAN?
Sir, UDAN scheme, which stands for Ude Desh Ka Aam Nagrik, is a flagship program of the Ministry of Civil Aviation and was aimed to provide regional connectivity scheme and has been largely successful in attaining its objectives. For example, till now there have been 90 lakh passengers which have been flown under UDAN scheme and subsidies have been provided to them. Similarly,
some connection problem, I think.
Naman? No, there. Hello?
I think there's some connection problem. Naman, can you hear us?
Naman?
Yes, sir.
I think there was some connection problem.
Oh, sorry, sir. I'll repeat.
Now it's okay. Now you can continue.
No, continue with UDAN.
Okay, sir. Sir, I was saying that UDAN was able to cater to around 90 lakh people till now, and a large number of airports have also been generated and increased from 60 to 140. Similarly, some of the places in the regional areas such as Darbhanga, Kushinagar, Kurnool, Gulbarga, which were otherwise not connected to the metro cities, have now been able to connect. And one of the specific examples which I can understand is, sir, Darbhanga now sees 1.5 lakh people flying out of the airport, which is a great number and which was unimaginable at one point of time. So, sir, UDAN scheme has been largely successful, sir.
All right, you are a chemical engineer.
Yes, sir.
And during pandemic, chemical engineers played a very major role, especially in the pharma sector. So tell me contribution of chemical engineers in pharma sector during pandemic in India.
Sir, the chemical engineers are employed by some of the largest pharmaceutical companies in India, such as Dr. Reddy's, UPL, Sun Pharma, etc., and even vaccine manufacturers such as Serum Institute, Bharat Biotech, etc. So, sir, in this case, the role of chemical engineers starts from identifying the pharmaceutical product, a medicine, vaccine, etc., and producing them at a large scale in an efficient and a cost-effective manner. So, sir, chemical engineering concepts are used in reaction engineering, in which medicines are produced, and ensuring that the highest safety protocols and clean mechanisms are used so that there is no hazard which can be introduced in the medicines. So, in terms of any production of medicines in large scale, chemical engineers play a crucial role.
Okay, there was a news item that in rural India, inflation is rising. Why is it a matter of great concern to us?
Sir, recently there have been news reports that the overall Indian CPI inflation has been 6.95%, and the rural areas inflation has crossed even 7.5% year-on-year growth. Sir, with respect to this, we see there is a significant concerns because the inflation has been in food and other edible products. Apart from this, high inflation is also there in fuel products, sir. And since rural areas have lower availability of money, and the poverty rate is also higher in rural areas, so the buoyancy of the rural citizens is difficult to manage at such high level of inflation, sir. So this is one reason why it might get difficult for people in rural India to absorb the inflation.
Okay, last question. Since you are interested in civil aviation, what is the water salute?
Sir, whenever a new airline starts its operation into a new country or a city, so the airport provides a water salute as a welcome measure to that airline or to the aircraft, sir. This is water salute.
Okay, thank you. Over to you, Mr. Anil.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Well, good afternoon, Naman.
Good afternoon, sir.
You are from Rajasthan and presently settled in Maharashtra,
Yes,
Mumbai.
sir.
So, in your opinion, on various socio-economic parameters, which is a more developed state, Maharashtra or Rajasthan?
Sir, some of the socio-economic indicators which I can compare is number one would be female literacy. Sir, in Rajasthan, the female literacy is very low at 52%, while in Maharashtra it is at around 68-69%, which is, sir, above the national average. So the literacy level is quite different. Apart from that, even the secondary grade participation or enrollment in schools is also very low in Rajasthan, which is much higher in Maharashtra. Sir, with respect to other social indicators such as labor force participation rate, so the labor force participation rate in Maharashtra is higher. It is higher than the national average of around 22%. But most of the women are working in the agricultural sector, where the price remuneration is much lower. While in Maharashtra, I see a larger cities such as Mumbai, Pune, Nagpur, they employ large number of women in service sector, and the
you mean to say, yeah, from your statements, I find that Maharashtra is a better state in terms of various socio-economic indicators, including economy, state GDP.
Yes, sir. GDP-wise, Maharashtra is the largest contributor in India as a state, and per capita GDP is also, sir, higher of Maharashtra than Rajasthan, sir.
Right. So tell me, Naman, despite all these developments in Maharashtra, economic growth in Maharashtra, if you compare the condition of farmers, then in Maharashtra, particularly in some parts of Maharashtra like Vidarbha and Western Marathwada, the cases of farmer suicide are much higher as we compare it with the Rajasthan.
Sir, recently I also got the opportunity to travel to Nagpur, where I try to understand why the cases of farmer suicide is higher in Vidarbha. And sir, based on different readings, I realized that the major issue is with respect to water availability. The availability of water in the winter season is particularly very low, and the Rabi crop is grown in less than 10% of the total area in Vidarbha. In the Kharif season, where the water availability is comparatively high, the failure of crops is frequent because the erratic nature of monsoon, it delays the monsoon, or it increases the rainfall at a very high extent, which damages the crop. So, sir, the common crops there, which are some of the millets like ragi and cotton, sugarcane, wheat, sir, they face severe issues of consistent production, and which results in, sir, failure of crops and farmer suicides.
In case of Rajasthan, how Rajasthan farmers' distress level is comparatively lower?
Sir, with respect to Rajasthan, the number of farmer suicides are lower. This is because the traditional practice of agriculture in Rajasthan, it relies mostly on growing millets such as bajra, and some of the crops like mustard, wheat, which are suitable to the semi-arid and the arid crop of nature of Rajasthan. So even though the availability of water is also very low there, but the traditional practices of using tanks, canals, and tube wells is more developed in Rajasthan, which is able to sustain the agriculture in Rajasthan.
What about allied activities, agricultural allied activities, which are, do you think there is any difference in Rajasthan and region, Maharashtra? Like dairy, poultry, and other like orchards?
Sir, there is a difference between the two. In terms of livestock, if we compare, the contribution of livestock in agricultural GDP of Rajasthan is much higher than in Maharashtra. There are
that is the main reason that, yeah, okay.
Yes.
That you want to say that this is one reason that farmers distress level is comparatively less.
Yes.
In case of Rajasthan.
Yes.
Because they have a support from the allied activities as well.
Yes.
Okay. Now, you tell me, do you think the government of India is taking steps which are adequate for climate action, or you would, as a chemical engineer, you would like to add some new or innovative actions?
So the government of India has been taking many steps with respect to climate change. We have recently heard Prime Minister's Panchamrit in COP26 Glasgow, and one of the key feature of the India's climate change action program has been the deployment of solar energy and other renewable energies at larger scale. Sir, even though the efforts made by the government of India is at a very good level, sir, one of them would be carbon capture and utilization storage, in which, sir, using different chemical reactions, we can have absorption of carbon from the atmosphere in the form of carbon dioxide into different chemicals, and they can then be stored in the earth for a very long time. But apart from this, industries is one of the larger contributor of greenhouse gases, such as thermal plants and different industries as well. So in this case, the industries need to come up with climate change mitigation strategy by use of fly ash or higher efficiency of thermal power plants, so as to reduce the carbon emissions.
Okay. Now let us talk about tourism in Rajasthan. Rajasthan is one of the major tourist destinations, both for domestic tourists as well as tourists from other countries. Yes. So do you think the infrastructure is adequate in Rajasthan and we are able to tap that potential to its full capacity, or something needs to be done?
Sir, in this regard, one thing has come to my mind that recently a UNESCO team visited Rajasthan, Jaipur particularly, and it remarked that the heritage of Jaipur is much better than heritage of European countries, but it's that the maintenance of these heritage places has not been done properly, which has resulted in underutilization of the potential, sir. With respect to the availability of infrastructure in tourist places in Rajasthan, the infrastructure has not been properly developed. The number of boarding and lodging facilities, hotels, is below average of the Indian average number. With respect to availability of flights, sir, to cities like Jaipur, Udaipur, Jaisalmer, Bikaner has also been lower than
connectivity. You are trying to say connectivity is a one big important issue.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, Naman, my last question to you is, now this is with regard to G20. Now, India would be getting the leadership presidency of G20 next year.
Yes.
So how do you think India can make use of this opportunity to reinforce or to further strengthen its position as a global leader?
Sir, India would be getting the presidency of G20 next year from Indonesia currently. And the major objectives of G20 is economic development of the world. And as a president of G20, we need to make sure that after effects of COVID-19 are mitigated and economic recovery is faster. With respect to this, we can have better trade, solve the issues of supply chain bottlenecks, which are currently being faced throughout the world. Apart from this, we also need to have a collective fund and availability of money from different world institutions such as World Bank, IMF, and even regional institutions like Asian Development Bank, etc., which would help capital investment in these countries. Sir, as the president of the G20, we need to make sure that the countries come together and they start investing in the world and solve the issues of, sir, inflation, such as crude oil prices and sir, agricultural commodity inflation.
Thank you. Thank you, Naman. Over to Chairman, sir.
Thank you, sir.
So, Naman, recently India has signed FTAs, free trade agreements with UAE and Australia, and they are, considered to be the watershed, moments. Now, which are the other blocks or countries you think India can enter into a FTA with?
Sir, the other countries which I can think India should enter FTAs, one is UK. We are also in the progress of signing FTA with United Kingdom. Apart from this, European Union is one major bloc. It is the largest trading bloc after China for India, and we need to have FTA with EU as well, so that we can compete with countries like Vietnam and Bangladesh exports. Apart from this, sir, FTA is also required in countries like in North America and Latin America, such as Canada, USA, Mexico, and some other Latin American countries, sir.
So, Naman, I'll come to the last question, which will be from the topic of your choice, which you're going to tell me.
Sir, most of the topics have been covered. I would, sir, like to speak something on traveling, which is, sir, one of my hobby.
On what? Traveling?
On traveling, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. So tell me why India is incredible.
Sir, India is definitely incredible because of its very rich culture and heritage. India has been a civilization for last 4,000 or more years and has seen cultures of domestic and people belonging to other regions such as Middle East, Central Asia, European culture as well. Sir, incredibility comes from culture and heritage. Sir, incredibility also comes from the wholeheartedness of people of India. They welcome through the concept of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, and the people are very welcoming, and they serve the people or tourists who ever come to India with whole sir, respect and heartedness. This is the major sir, incredibility feature of sir, Indian tourism.
So thank you, Naman.
Okay, Naman, tell me how you felt during the whole discussion. What was your impression?
Sir, I could have done a little better. Some of the answers I thought were not so well prepared. There is some scope of improvement, sir, in answering the questions. This is my
okay. So coming to your personality, your appearance, your clarity of thought, delivery, everything is very good. I find you to be very pleasing personality to talk to. Confident,
you,
very clear about your thoughts. Now coming to specifics, the only question where I thought you could have improved in any leadership quality, always think of, your entire team. You are a team leader as well. So, but for that minor correction, you should always, bring in the teamwork whenever you talk as a leader. Okay,
yes.
That was the reason why you were made the police commissioner. That not only outside but inside. Then
Yes.
inflation, rising inflation in rural India was very well covered. Udan scheme, you can give better figures because what I was looking at was number of flights that have been started and number of airports that have now come up.
Yes. Okay.
So while you covered in general, but then it will be good if you can cover the remaining aspects. And your reply on chemical engineers and pharma sector during pandemic was also very good. So that's it. Some areas that I wish to cover was Bhopal gas tragedy, and as a chemical engineer, what kind of precautions or lessons you have learned today. So
Yes,
just
okay.
keep a track of all that is relating to your subject.
Definitely, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Over to you, Mr. Anil.
Mr. Adil,
Thank you, sir. I completely share the view expressed by. Hello, can you hear me, Naman? Well, I completely share the views expressed by my honorable member, Mr. Khanna. Just one point from my side that I found some of your replies were slightly longish, like about the farmer suicide case. On the comparison of socio-economic conditions, you are absolutely on the track. But when I talked about asked about the farmer suicide, so there you are longish on the Marathwada, the Vidarbha region side. So otherwise, you are a very excellent candidate, and you are very articulate, well informed, and have good and in-depth knowledge of the subjects relating to your DAP and even other questions which we have asked. So I wish you all the best.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
so Raman, I divide into three parts. One is your personality, including your, how you conducted yourself, during the interview. So from that angle, you have done very well. You have a very pleasing personality, and you are young and you look young and energetic. You were confident, you were smiling, and it was quite like conversation, the way UPSC would desire. Your body language was also very comfortable. So from that angle, you need not bother much. Okay. Now, number two, regarding the conversation and the delivery. So one thing which my esteemed colleague has mentioned about your answers being a bit longish. So be slightly more crisp and brief. But there were certain answers in which you were extremely brief. And the reason when you are very brief is nothing but that you lack ideas and you have exhausted all that you know about that particular thing. So the sum and substance of my mentioning is that you have to study more deeper into each and every topic, which may be, in your guest lists, that the guest questions.
Yes.
And it's very easy to find out what kind of questions could be asked from you is that you start looking at your DAF from the beginning. You are from Maharashtra, so you would be asked questions. You
Yes.
are from Mumbai, Mumbai will invite a lot of questions. Latest IPCC climate change has said that Mumbai is going to submerge in 2050. I'm
Yes.
just thinking of a possible thing about Mumbai. There can be hundreds of questions on Mumbai. Number two, Maharashtra, again, some of the questions were asked from you about the farmer suicide and all, but there are many more issues in Maharashtra which you may have to, sort of brush up. And you can even make notes, so that your answers are structured.
Yes.
Coming to your IIT itself will invite questions, and you will certainly be asked a question as to why are you wanting to come to civil services,
Yes.
especially if a person is an IIT, that too from Bombay. So, this thing immediately comes to the mind of the any panelist that, why is he coming here? So that you should prepare, you should be well prepared. But your answer today, when this question was asked, was not up to the mark, Naman. You need to, make some changes. You mentioned more about your own abilities.
Okay.
Don't mention unless somebody asks you.
Okay.
When somebody asks you why civil services, so you should not go for that. Sir, at some point in time, I was made to realize that I have that leadership skills and qualities, and I can be a good civil servant. Don't get into self, glorification.
Okay, sir.
It is not good.
Okay.
I mean, that is something which the panel is judging today.
Yes.
Right? But if the panel asks you specifically what leadership skills you have that will make you a good civil servant. Then you can answer all that you have mentioned.
Okay, sir.
Right? But when they ask you, why are you decided to come to civil services, then of course you have to come with the benefits, virtues, and the positives about civil service. Without criticizing the, what you have been doing, and without criticizing, oh, in private sector there's nothing, do not mention about it. So diversity of job, right? Challenges and opportunities, a lot of exposure to national, international issues, to the rural issues, serving a large opportunity to serve a large number of people and have a large outreach, to the people, job satisfaction, and of course your career prospects. So you can pick up some of them and make it very structured. And also do not say that I want to contribute to the society. It looks very, everyone is contributing to the society. Whoever is doing his job sincerely, because there is nothing specific about the civil services that it contributes to the society, and the other jobs don't. So without casting any aspersion on any other job, you should come out with unique USPs of civil service, right?
Okay.
And
Yes,
that is something which will attract you.
Yes, sir.
Right? So don't focus on yourself. So this is just one. By the way, since this question could be asked from you, you must try to attempt like this. So mainly coming to the quality of content, your quality, you are well informed. You knew little about everything, but you need to go deeper. Are you there? Can you listen to me?
Yes, sir. I'm listening to you. I can hear.
So you knew a lot. You have interest in many things. You could relate. You did not say, I have not heard this, I have not seen this. You knew air bubble also. You knew our regional connectivity scheme also. You could also mention UDAN. You also mentioned about UK, that Boris Johnson, has said this, whatever. So I was very happy about it. But in certain questions, like some depth is required. And if you are having that depth of knowledge, without asking, you can mention those points to earn some brownie points. You understand?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Instead of telling something very superficial.
Yes, sir.
Now, ease of doing business, I'll give an example. You mentioned something as a collector, which at times you may not be able to give.
Okay, sir.
You said give water, I'll give electricity. Now, these are the two things which I think I have been collector of 5 districts. I don't think I could put up hand pumps, but I could not create water.
Okay, sir.
So facilitation of electricity and water, that is a better word, number one. And there are many more ingredients in the ease of doing business. You go through it.
Yes.
There is also an index. You read those, come out with those, and that can match with what a district collector can do. For example, single window.
Yes, sir.
You see, when an industrialist comes, he doesn't come to you, sir, please give me water. If you give water, then I will come. He has already surveyed water. He has already seen the land. Land acquisition is, of course, an issue, but he's not bothered about land because once he has decided to invest, what he requires from you is the little formalities that when he starts his business, please give me permits and licenses and permissions.
Okay, sir.
Don't sit on it. It takes months and months and months for every small thing. For one hotel industry to start, you need 50 to 60 permissions.
Yes, sir.
Right? That is one. Registry formalities, enforcing of contracts, resolution of disputes. These are in the hands of the district administration more than water and electricity.
Okay, sir.
All right. So when I said district magistrate, so I deliberately mentioned, otherwise it could have been, what do you need for good investments? For industry. Then you could have said, sir, water, electricity, this. But for you, you have to provide that. And a collector, a district magistrate can provide all these in the form of facilitation.
Yes, sir.
When getting credit, they need money. So collector is also the chairperson of a bankers committee also.
Okay.
So just for your information. So go into the depth of every DAF issue that you have. So IIT, chemical engineering, we did not ask too many questions. And of course, your interest in civil aviation, your interest in travel, and everything that you have written in your hobbies and other curricular activities, just make notes of them and relate to the issues which are in discussion these days.
Okay.
Similarly for economics and international relations. And certain social sectors like health, education, and women empowerment. These are generally the subjects which keep circulating. All right. So anything, Naman, you would like to know from us?
Sir, the feedback has been very detailed, so everything has been covered. I don't have any particular questions to ask.
Very good. So Naman, the panel has given, we give some rating in percentage also, marks. So
Okay,
panel has given you 65% marks today.
Okay, sir.
Which is from the UPSC standards, very good. The 70 percenter is
180 plus.
It's 180 out of 275.
Okay, sir.
Thank
you, sir.
Did you appear in the interview earlier also?
No, sir. This would be my first interview.
Okay. So pura zor laga do, Naman, and do your best. And we hope that if you have done your main exams well, you should be in.
Thank you, sir. I'll do my best, sir. I'll give all the efforts.
So thank you, Naman, and all the best to you.
All the
best, Naman. All the best.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.